It's time to talk horse racing on Prime Sports Network. Coming to us live from Churchill Downs. We are still, it's only Monday, so we've got till Saturday. But who cares? Because we can't wait till Saturday. Chad Summers, of course, with us. Chad, what is that? What's that behind you?
That will be the Twin Spires of Churchill Downs.
That's pretty awesome. You found a nice, perfect spot. And you're gonna be well, you and John will be much closer to the track on Friday show, right?
Maybe. It'll be loud. It'll be loud. We may have to do it from the hotel, but we'll figure it out. We'll see. We'll see what's what. We'll see what we can get done.
Okay. And that'll be on. We'll probably record that on Friday morning.
Either Friday or Thursday.
Thursday night, Friday morning. Okay.
Something like that. Maybe Friday morning.
Post position draw. Now the big story that came out before the draw is that Una Ojo withdrew, and so Mr. Dwayne Lucas gets his horse Ethereal Road in the field, even though he gets the 20th post position. Is that correct?
Yeah, and like we've been saying kind of all along, 20th post position is better than 21 because 21 puts you on the AE list. So,
that's where he was yesterday. Yes.
The coach will take it. Hall of Famer Dwayne Lucas. It'll be his 50th career starter in the Kentucky Derby, second only behind his protege, Todd Pletcher, who I think is at 53. And Todd, of course, will have 3 horses in Saturday's renewal as well.
And one of those horses made your biggest change, even though there was no race activity. There was testing, and of course, there's other words for it, like breezing. But the fact is, Charge It. Now, I brought up Charge It to you about a few weeks ago after this is a lightly raced horse. Didn't have a great race last time out, but you felt that the biggest issue, an obstacle, was going to be the fact that this is a horse that needs the lead, and there were too many horses at that point that were probably going to be going for the lead. You still had him in your top 10, but now you moved Charge It from 7th to 4th. Why did you do that in your poll?
Well, kind of first day of today, being able to see all the horses around the grounds. The only one that we did not see train this morning was the late arriving White Barrio. He is here. We'll see him tomorrow, but got a chance to see everybody else train. Summers tomorrow had his final breeze coming from Dubai for connections, Bupat Seymour and his wife Caroline, that I know so well. But just from the kind of the eye test on what we saw this morning, there was 3 or 4 horses that really kind of caught our eye, and that would be the top 4 from the latest poll. Cyberknife, looks even better now than he did before, which is scary and tough to imagine. I mean, if it was a prize fight, he's got the perfect 8-pack you'd want to see. I mean, couldn't look more fit. Brad Cox has done an amazing job with this horse. Zendon is another one. Zendon is a horse for Chad Brown that we actually moved back up to 2. He's a horse that I had my reservations about whether or not he would get here from a soundness standpoint. But, man, he's here. We're 5 days away, and he really, really made a good appearance on the track this morning for trainer Chad Brown, who seeks his first Kentucky Derby. Epicenter is the epitome of class. Epicenter does everything so easy, so well, so effortlessly, and continues to do nothing wrong. And then you have Charge It. And look, Charge It is lightly raced, as is Taiba, as is Zozos. All 3 of them having just, Taiba with 2 career starts, the other 2 with 3 career starts. It's a big ask, but Charge It moves very, very nice on the track. He's got good energy. He's got a great kind of way of going about himself on the track. And he's very, very forward. He's very in the bit. And those are all things and terminologies that you want to see at this point. Look, all the heavy lifting is done. We'll see one more work on Wednesday from Crown Pride, as the Japanese horse who seems to work about every 3rd day. But other than that, all the heavy lifting is done. So at this point now, it's how are they traveling into this race? And the one thing that you want to see is horses that want to do it. You want to see them very forward in their training. You don't want to see them going crazy and running off and going too fast, but you want to see them listening to the rider, and you want to see them just kind of with their ears pricked forward, liking what they do. And that was certainly the case without those top 4 horses that we saw this morning.
Okay, so then as far as a horse like Charge It and wanting the lead, has anything changed as far?
Well, we had the post draw this afternoon. So all 20 horses are drawn, and obviously we'll talk a lot more about this in our preview show later on in the week. But there were some interesting things. Epicenter, I don't think, was helped with his post, being in post 3, drawn right to the inside of Summers Tomorrow, a horse who was known to be going for the lead. Messier in post 6, another one who will be forwardly placed. So Epicenter was not helped with his draw. And the thing with Charge It is Charge It got a good draw in post 8, and he doesn't need the lead. The question with Charge It in coming out of those three races is when they're all jumbled up in a 20-horse field, is he going to be able to overcome that adversity? And it's unknown. But from a physical trait, from physical gift standpoint, certainly has all the markings of what will be a very, very nice horse. And for that reason, I couldn't ignore him any longer and keeping him kind of higher on the list. Okay. Because if Charge It is able to overcome all of this, if he is able to sit a trip in the pocket and to show class and to show himself where he's able to turn off and turn on kind of thing when needed from Jockey Luis Saez, who's a big money rider, Charge It can win this race. He's not without chance to win this race. And when you're 5 days out from the race, those are thoughts and those are terms that you want to hear if you have one of these top contenders.
By the way, Zandon is the favorite at 3-1, and Epicenter at 7-2, and then there's a jump a little bit to Messier at 8-1. Meanwhile, Cyberknife is 20-1, a little bit longer than we thought, but that's good. Let him be a forgotten horse. That's what...
He's 20-1. He will not be 20-1 on the day. He's too much of a buzz horse back here. The Wise Guys selection, the must use in your exactas and your trifectas. I would expect him to go off a lot closer to 15-1, even 12-1 than I would think 20-1 or higher. It's a very, very interesting morning line for a lot of these horses, not just Cyberknife. Taiba, who's coming in with the correlation that he could be anything undefeated 2 for 2, is 12-1, where 10 days ago you would have thought that Taiba might be the morning line favorite. So certainly some interesting things on the morning line. The betting for the Derby will open up actually on Friday. So Friday night when they run the Oaks, we'll have an idea of the early trends and what it's looking like and who's going to take the biggest drop. And of course, it's been well documented that Mattress Mac, James McInvale, who is the owner of Run Happy, the stallion at Claiborne, who had such a wonderful career, is going to bet a substantial amount of money on the favorite because he has promised everybody in Houston in his furniture store that if the favorite doesn't win, you guys all get free furniture. Or if he does win, you all get free furniture. Okay. So he's done this promotion before. He's done it with baseball. He's done it with basketball. He's done it with horse racing. So he's expected to put somewhere along the lines of a $3 million wager on the favorite, whoever the favorite will be.
Well,
which is mind-boggling.
Well, we have a futures ticket that will not pay $3 million, but we still have a lot of faith that Cyberknife will come through. And Art Spalding, who is one of our patrons, actually picked one of the horses to win in our contest this past Saturday. So he has now joined the club. He won the futures ticket, the $10 futures ticket at 37-1 odds for Cyberknife. So congratulations to Art. And that means that I know there's at least 4 of us that are pretty stoked about what could take place on Saturday if Cyberknife is able to win this race. So again, at least we had one winner. Well, everybody else in the contest lost. So it made it easy. We didn't have to worry about payouts or anything like that. So that worked out well. Are you surprised that with the talent evenly divided, with maybe 6 to 8 horses, and maybe even 10 in this field, that we do have a 3-1, 4-1 favorite?
I am, and Zandon is kind of on that hype train that I talked about with Cyberknife. You know, everybody loved his work in Keeneland two back. They loved his surprise work on Friday. He's done everything the right way. With Chad Brown at the helm, a guy who's won a lot of big races, maybe more so on the turf than the dirt. But he obviously knows how to get a horse ready for the big race. Chad's very, very confident in this horse. Flavian Pratt, one of the top jockeys in the world right now, aboard, rode him for the first time in the Bluegrass, and he's got a good post with post number 10. He'll be one of the last horses to load into the gate. But that being said, he does need to break better, because if he's mid-pack or further behind early on in the race, I don't care how good of a jockey Flavian Pratt is, he's going to have his work cut out for him. And at the end of the day, he does not break that sharp out of the gate. I would like to see him, maybe pop out of the gate this week or do some gate stuff, but I don't think he will. It's not Chad Brown's style per se to do something like that. So I think we'll know. Unfortunately, this isn't really the greatest prognostication over here, but if you can give me an eighth of a mile into the mile and a quarter race, I'll tell you if Zandon can win or can't win. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. But we'll know going into the first turn whether or not Zandon will be able to win. Yeah. So to me, the fact is that there are things he has to overcome to make him a 3-1 favorite in this spot. While, like you said, the third choice 8-1, fourth choice 10-1 was very interesting to me.
Yeah. And again, you've got Epicenter, as you mentioned, with that 3 post position, which is not a very good position to be in. And if Zandon does again have issues starting this race with a 20 horse field, you might have two of the two favorites that could be impacted early in the race, and that could really open things up.
And again, we talk about these lightly raced horses like Taiba and Zozos and Charge It. Well, because it's been spaced out a little bit more, people forget that Zandon has just 4 lifetime starts. And in the first start, my horse was 9-5 and he was 5-1. So maybe I should be the favorite in the Kentucky Derby right now with Matt Doyle. But at the end of the day, he got me on the wire and went on for the Remsen and things of that nature. But he's only run 4 times. And he's a very, very nice horse. And I understand Chad Brown says he's overcome a lot of adversity in all 4 of those starts, but he has only run the 4 times, and this is a different beast. And again, I think horses that have a little bit more experience will go a long way in this spot. And that's another concern with just the 4 lifetime starts that Zandon has.
And if you take a look, you mentioned Cyberknight, the 16th position is a pretty good position. If you just take a look at recent history, there have been almost a handful of horses that have won at the 16th position in the last 25 years or so. So it's not bad. It's definitely a better position than far inside or far outside. That's for sure. And we'll go through all of that on the show on Friday. But when we do the show on Friday, we're going to go through every horse. We're going to break down every horse's chances. Obviously, we're going to go over the sheets because John Hardoon, that's his show. Chad's invading John's show on Friday. So we're going to go into the sheets. Chad's going to tell you why each horse can win. Hopefully it won't be too boring for people. I don't think it will be. I think it's important in a race like this, just once a year, even though there's 20 horses. We'll give a couple minutes each to each horse, just so everybody knows that everybody has a chance, because everybody does have a chance. You just never know, especially in a race like this, where there's a whole lot of contenders, and just maybe a couple of horses that probably really should go off, maybe higher than 40 or 50-1.
And will.
Who do you think is going to end up? Is that something? Is Chad Lucas's horse, or who? Give me the horses that you think are going to be the longest odds. Happy Jack.
Happy Jack will be long.
Well, Ethereal Road will be long, right?
Ethereal Road will be long.
Tony Port.
And Tony Port will be long. Yeah. All of Jonathan's favorite that came from the turf.
Tis the Bomb.
Tis the Bomb will probably be long too. So.
Yeah. Summers tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there'll be, but again, we'll try to, because again, like I said, a lot of.
Look, I'll tell you this about Summers tomorrow though, for whatever it's worth. Okay. So, and Summers tomorrow, he did make $200,000 running second in the UAE Derby. Okay. He qualified for the race and he got in here. That being said, the connections have spent, and this is no joke, not even including the $50,500 entry fee, okay, which you don't get back unless you come in the top 5. So not even including the $50,000 entry fee, they spent about $100,000 getting the horse here, between a private plane from Dubai to hotel rooms for all the parties involved and everything like that. They've spent about $100,000 to get Summers tomorrow here. Now, they are not in the money grows in trees business, so they have a belief that their horse deserves a shot to be here, and will be a pace presence in the race early on, and this will be a second start around 2 turns. So you can't sit there and say, well, what is this horse doing here? He's wasting everybody's time. They put up their money. I have no problem at all with them running in this race.
Is there a horse in the field that doesn't belong?
In my opinion, the one horse in the field that didn't belong is the one who's not running, and that's Unoho. I understand he won the Rebel. It was a good story, a 75-1 shot. He's got one eye, New York bred. Nobody loves New York breds more than I do. But he had no chance in the race.
Okay.
So he was the one horse that I would have thrown off every ticket, and he's no longer in the race.
All right. So just be prepared for me to go. All right, Chad. Why will Summer is Tomorrow win tomorrow's race? And I'll say that 20 times on the show on Friday, and you're going to have to explain. That's what I want to hear your...
Well, the one thing, Greg, the one thing that we know from this show is that we will be ready for all questions.
Absolutely.
And we're going to lay it out the way it is. We don't really pull any punches. We're not sitting there saying, this one is pretty and this one has... a dap without coat, and every horse is a champion. We're gonna lay it out, just like we see it. Jonathan by the numbers, me, on the other kind of attributes, and hopefully we'll come up with some good suggestions, some good ideas on that Derby show. I think it's gonna be a great show.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to, and because I know John is, and I know you both, and obviously are gonna be picking Cyberknife to win, as you should. So even though I'm going to have all of my hopes with Cyberknife, I will purposely pick another horse just because of the fact that even if I like Cyberknife myself, I just have to pick another horse. And I'm going to ask you to pick a secondary horse as well.
On behalf of all of Cyberknife Nation, we're glad that you will be picking another horse watching your track over the course of the Triple Crown campaign.
I'll pick all 19 other horses. I'm going to put $100 on all 19 other horses.
We'll give you a $38 voucher. Go crazy.
Hey, but I actually finally hit one last week.
There you go.
Yeah, it was a nice one. It was a 15-1 shot, I believe. 100 plus exacta. Nice trifecta too. It was nice. Anyway, it's about time.
We kept the lights on the program, so we got enough electricity for one more show.
And before I let you go, last week we broke down your top 10 North American thoroughbreds of all time. So we had some response from your list.
I love the comments, by the way. I like that people are getting involved and participating, because this show doesn't work with just us.
It's just you and me. Yeah.
What it is and everything else.
Ruben Jimenez. I completely agree with the top 2. Unquestionably brilliant.
Greatest listener. Perfect.
Okay, so
Stop the.
I start with the best the best one. Next, Mr. Guitar 0610. Very surprised that Mo Donegal was put down very low in ranking just because Rosario chose to ride Epicenter. I would bet $1 that he will be ahead of Zozos at the wire. If Irad rides, Mo Donegal will be a plus.
I think that the dollar wager would be between Mo Donegal and Epicenter, and I will take Epicenter 10 out of 10 times, 20 out of 20 times, 100 out of 100 times in that head-to-head matchup.
Wicked Felina. Now, she has a little issue with when you talked about how American Pharaoh was really cool out on the racetrack in front of whoever, hundreds of thousands of people, and American Pharaoh was just the coolest horse ever. So Wicked Felina says, wait, you have missed the Achilles heel of American Pharaoh. Pharaoh was cool as long as he had his earplugs in. Baffert talked about how Pharaoh would freak out when he heard the crowd, so he had earplugs in. That is why he never heard the hail or the thunder. So why don't you know this? Secretariat was the cool one. Wow. Okay.
I appreciate the tidbit.
So answer that question for us, Chad.
He did wear earplugs during his training, but they would actually take the earplugs out during the races, I believe. And whether or not you can hear the hail, you can certainly see the hail and feel the hail. And he did not give a hail.
Okay. Next, Alex Morel. Rachel and Zenyatta. Is Rachel, I guess, is a horse, right?
Rachel Alexander, yeah.
Rachel Alexander. Okay. Rachel Alexander and Zenyatta, 7 and 8, above affirmed. Your credibility is gone right then. Stop it.
Look, unfortunately, they can never run against each other.
Yeah.
And we spoke glowingly about all 10 horses on the list for a reason. I mean, they're probably interchangeable here and there. Zenyatta and Rachel both gave me goosebumps. I'm probably a little too young to have watched the Affirmed Alydar races live. I will certainly be open for inquiries to think that Affirmed is right there. But Rachel and Zenyatta both gave me goosebumps, and that's what makes those lists so great. Is everybody's entitled to their own opinions.
Richard Buckler wants to know what you think about, or what you thought about Wise Dan.
Yeah, Wise Dan, cool horse. And actually began his career on the dirt before switching over to the turf. The thing with Wise Dan was he was a little nichey with the distances that he had to run, but just an unbelievable job that Charlie Lepresti did with him from the beginning. And actually, a lot of people don't know this. His groom was Reeve McGahee, who's now a trainer on his own, but is also Shug McGahee's son. And Reeve McGahee was the groom for Wise Dan. And they loved that horse, and they nurtured that horse, and they got the most out of that horse. A wonderful training job with that horse, but just falls outside of the top 10 rankings for sure.
And the last one, Carl Ellis mentioned a horse by the name, and I remember this horse, Easy Goer.
Yeah, cool horse. Gun to the head of Hall of Fame trainer Shug McGahee. I think he probably thinks that Easy Goer was the best of the Phibbs horses that he trained. And he trained, so many nice, wonderful horses, generations of horses. Easy Goer was a cool horse, but didn't win enough for me to look. The thing is, and Jonathan called me too off the air and told me, how can I not have Forgo? How can he share the microphone with me on Friday? I didn't have Forgo on this list. Look, I understand everybody has opinions. I'd love to put Mind Your Biscuits on that list. I'd love to put a lot of horses on that list. But at the end of the day, to put one on, you have to take one off. And so to add Easy Goer, who do you take off? It's easy to put a list and say, oh, you need this one. You got to respond back with, who am I taking off?
Yeah.
And so for that reason, the list remains as is. I am not the weakest link. Thank you.
All right. That'll wrap it up. Again, want to thank Chad, and he'll be with John Hardoon on Friday. We're going to have a great show. Can't wait. Please continue the comments. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed before. The advantage of subscribing to the channel is as soon as the shows are posted, you will know about it, especially if you're a frequent YouTube user. That makes it a lot easier, so you know when the shows are available. And if you've never thought about joining, maybe you just didn't realize it, I mentioned I would talk about this each week. Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/PrimeSN. For as little as $5 a month. You can see the ticker up there talks about it. For as little as $5 a month, you get all of John's picks, and that is a minimum of 8 races a month. And just like I said, we hit a big one on Saturday. What was it? Scuttlebuzz, I believe, was the name of the horse. 15-to-1 shot. The exacta was over $100. Matter of fact, I had the top 3 horses who finished first, second, and third. The trifecta was a huge number, so even I hit some every once in a while. But anyway, for $5 a month, you can't beat it. You get the expert sheets analysis from John Hardoon, so check it out. And we always, of course, appreciate all of our patrons. And for becoming a patron, you get to participate in the type of contests that we just had. And so that means Art now gets an opportunity to earn, close to $400 if Cyberknife wins the Kentucky Derby just by being a patron and entering our contest. And the contests, by the way, and we're going to have more of these contests, the contests now, when we have a limited amount of patrons, these are the best contests. See, a year from now or 2 years from now, if we have like a couple of hundred patrons, it's going to be a lot harder to win a contest. So this is the best time to join our patron page at /PrimeSN. And we hope you do. Okay, so we'll talk to Chad and John on Friday. We'll be here to preview the Kentucky Derby and also the Kentucky Oaks. We'll see you next time.